Mr. President, it only took 4 years, just 4 years, for the Democrat leader to become concerned about inflation. Shocking. Last week, the Democrat leader came down to the floor multiple times to complain about January's inflation numbers. Inflation numbers that he blamed on, get this, President Trump. That's right. I guess it didn't occur to the Democrat leader that it was actually President Biden who was president for most of January, up until January 20th, and by the way, for the past 4 years. So I guess, what are you going to do? You got to have something to talk about. But it was fascinating, Mr. President, to hear the leader complain about inflation being at 3%. Inflation was over 3% more than 2 straight years during the Biden administration. And I might add, mostly way over 3%, like 7, 8, 9%. And I'm trying and failing to remember the Democrat leader expressing even half this outrage. By the end of the Biden administration, a typical family had to pay, get this, $13,000 more per year to maintain the same standard of living that it enjoyed when President Biden took office. $13,000 more per year as a result of Biden inflation. And I'd be very surprised if the Democrat leader came to the floor to highlight that fact even once. I think we all know the answer to that. But I'm forgetting, Mr. President, the rules are different for Democrats. If you're a Democrat, it's perfectly fine and not at all hypocritical to plan to abolish the filibuster should you gain a majority in the Senate, but to use it regularly when you do not. It's perfectly fine and not at all hypocritical to convey outrage about a Republican president daring to use executive power, even if the prior Democrat administration used it profusely. And apparently it's perfectly fine and not at all hypocritical to condemn a Republican president for a 3% inflation number, even if he wasn't actually president over most of the month in question, the month of January, while ignoring the raging inflation crisis that characterized a large chunk of the